Hey guys, this video is going to be a little different than the normal stuff on my channel. I just wanted to get it out as fast as possible. I had kind of a crazy weekend and it's the first time I could sit down and edit. I hope you enjoy this one. It's going to be just a tad different. And just to say it's the best and spread false information like that, I wanted to dispute this claim. So let's take a look at what makes LMGs so good right now. Well, we all know that we have the new hero loadout system, and with that comes a couple of perks that really work for larger magazine guns. We have Startup, which is every range shot does 2% weapon damage and fire rate, or you can use Mad Tidings for an extra 50% damage, or this comes out to another 50% damage. Either one of these you can use. It's either one. I personally like Mad Tidings better. I just like the character better. I like his kit better. So if we were to do that, if we were to change this over to Mad Tidings and then stick Bulletstorm Jonesy back in this spot, let's take a look at the math that works for this build. That gives us 50 stacks of 2.9% damage. So if we open up the calculator here and we do 50 stacks times 2.9%, 2.9, it gives us 145% extra damage. Now, if we do start up as well, this is 25 stacks by 1%, I believe. Yep. So that's another 25% extra damage. 25 plus 145 equals 170. Even if you don't take these perks, let's just take a look at it. So if you do Make It Rain, headshot damage by 4% for 2 seconds. So that's 5, 10, 15, 20. So that's another 20% damage. So we're going to go with another 20. We're going to leave this out of the thing because we're going to talk about crit damage in a minute. Assault damage is another 17%. So that's another 17. And we're going to add another thing, which is certain perks on soldiers. They have suppressive fire, which gives you 5, 10, 15%, and this one is another 10. So we're gonna add another 25% into this calculation, and we're at 232% extra base damage after shooting 50 bullets. Look guys, LMGs are in a really good spot right now with builds like this, but the Terminator is at the bottom of the barrel. The candy corn heals you, the hacksaw is 10 times more accurate, the drum roll shoots faster. There's just no reason to use the Terminator, trust me. What can we do in this build to make the gun be the strongest it can be? Make the character the strongest it can be? Well, there are a couple of things you can do, and I don't even need to test the weapon's time to kill or anything like that. And also the weapon we're going to be comparing it to has an explosion perk, and I spent 4.5 days trying to figure out the Bundlebus explosion perk, and I'm not doing that again. The math just isn't there to do. So just know that I'm not going to break this thing down. These are just what you guys should know for if you're trying to play this build. So that is why large magazine guns are kind of meta at the moment. 232, I believe that's the number we got, 232% extra damage, not counting crit chance, not counting fire rate, not counting crit damage, is crazy. So the best thing to do here to keep that up for as long as you can is to, of course, put magazine size on weapons. Who cares about the reload speed if you're hitting for an extra 232%? So here's where we get into some number crunching a little bit. So let's take a look at the Terminator. Since it's an OG weapon, you cannot roll any extra utility perks. There's no extra crit damage. There's nothing. It's 1, 1, and 1, and that's it. So if we perk up a magazine size roll on the Terminator, it leaves us with a magazine size of 205. If you subtract 50 bullets from this gun, because you need to shoot 50 bullets for it to do its maximum DPS, you are left with a grand total of 155 bullets shooting at 232% extra damage. If we go over and take a look at what I'm going to compare it to and what you guys can get right now, because that is one of the advantages of the Terminator, is since it's an OG weapon, it's available to everybody. But guess what? So is this one right now. So definitely go in the collection book and buy it if you like playing soldiers. This is arguably probably the best weapon in the game, or damn close to it. There's just too many things working for it. So this gun, since it's a not OG weapon, you can do stuff like this: crit damage, crit rating, 75 magazine size, 75 magazine size. Now, is there an argument for an extra crit damage roll to outweigh the 232% damage? Possibly. Am I going to figure out that math? Hell no. So we're going to take a look here and go into here. Now we're at 280. 280 minus 50, 280 minus 50 is a grand total of 230 compared to the 145 bullets that you have on the Terminator. So again, you're going to be doing maximum damage for 230 rounds, and this maximum damage is not to be scoffed at. This thing hits like a truck. In a 4-man party doing level 140 content, we were hitting for 220,000 damage per bullet. Non-crits. It was insane. On top of that, when the gun crits, it does even more damage, obviously. But that's not even all. Landing 5 hits in a row on a single target causes a small explosion, damaging enemies in a 0.5 tile radius of the target for 70% of the damage. Does this perk look familiar? It should, because the Bundlebus has something very, very similar, if not the exact same thing. And the Bundlebus is broken as hell, and therefore the Mercury Lmg is broken as hell. There is no way on this planet that the Terminator can out DPS this thing. And on top of that, so there's 4 things here, is that it does an AoE explosion. So now you have single target DPS that is super crazy high. You have AoE damage as well. You have an explosion. You have a gun that can roll better with more bullets, allowing you to do more maximum DPS for longer. I realized while recording, maybe I have this gun rolled incorrectly. Fire rate definitely has some mathematical advantage here too, to proc that 5-shot explosion more often. The math is almost impossible to do, so if you guys want to figure it out, feel free, but fire rate is definitely a consideration for a perk if you wanted to shoot faster. This is all I need you guys to do. Right now, this is what you need to do. You go to Armory, you go to Collection Book, you scroll all the way down here to Expansion Schematics, you see this bad boy right here, and you research this schematic. That is all you need to do if you want one of the best weapons in the game. Now, if this wasn't available, the Terminator has kind of a spot. But it is available right now, in fact, so you can go and you can do it, and it's over with. This is one of the best weapons in the game currently. It's probably, DPS-wise, it's probably right behind the Bundlebus. And since that explosion perk on the weapon is busted, it has hit, and again, full party, level 140 content, hit for over 1 million damage. The explosion perk, people, not just the damage itself. The damage doesn't hit for 1 million, but the explosion perk that does a small AoE does. It's dumb. The gun is broken as hell, and it is awesome to use. The only downside to the weapon, and I mean only, is that it takes bacon. That's the only downside. It uses energy ammo, and it takes bacon to craft that, and that sucks, but the damage it produces is almost worth it. I mean, it is worth it. Another thing we can talk about is the Mercury Lmg's recoil and stability is much better than the Terminator's. The Terminator's recoil is so high that the bullets come out flaccid and at a downwards angle. It's like you're shooting a bunch of mini bows and arrows. I cannot believe that someone would think that gun could possibly, in any way, shape, or form, out DPS this. Last note, when we ran it through the spreadsheet, the Terminator on paper has like 200 damage higher than the Mercury Lmg. But that's because A, it has a faster fire rate, and a fire rate really skews the numbers in this game. Plus, the game doesn't take into consideration crit chance and crit damage, but our spreadsheet does. Plus, the spreadsheet does not take into consideration that small explosion perk on every 5 shots. We broke it down a few different ways, and the Mercury Lmg wins every time. Every single time, the Mercury Lmg wins. So that's really it, guys. I just wanted to tell you, do not level up a Terminator right now, go to your collection book, grab your Mercury Lmg, and use this. Granted, it uses bacon, which is a problem, and they really shouldn't do it anymore because there's no point, because you put energy on every gun now. But for this moment right now, Mercury Lmg is probably the second highest DPS gun in the game. When you put it on a build with startup and mad tidings, it just does ridiculous things. One thing I think I need to mention here is that the startup and the mad tidings and all the other bonus damage seems to stack on top of that explosion, which is ridiculous. That's why it's hitting for 761,000 or 1.1 million damage. You cannot recreate those numbers currently. You used to be able to before the update, but even running the best soldier perks for the BUNDLEBUSS, that explosion only hits for like 400k now. So I think it might even out DPS that. We'll have to see and play test some more. But I wanted to bring you this information. I don't know what I'm going to classify this as. It's kind of off the cuff, but I hope you enjoyed it. I was thinking about streaming once a week on YouTube. If you guys want to support the channel, let me know what you think about that. If you're new to this channel, hit subscribe. Come hang out with us. The like button really helps too. And if you want to watch anything live, I stream almost every single day on Twitch at twitch.tv/Roundedtiktak. This is another video on the books. I'll see you on the next one. TikTak out.
Is now available.